With the massive success of the original Virtua Cop in 1994 and the looming release of Namco's Time Crisis, Sega came back swinging the next year with a souped-up sequel, and man did they deliver big time. Virtua Cop 2 wasn't just a revolutionary game for its time, but it took everything that made the first game a hit and improved upon it in just about every way. Ported to the Saturn in 1996, Virtua Cop 2 brings Rage and Smarty back to the streets of Virtua City to take on the crime. Joining them on patrol is a new character, Janet. She doesn't really play a significant role and is just kinda there, but she does make for a kick-ass unlockable female fighter in Fighter's Megamix. When you first boot up the game, you've only got the main arcade mode and options. There's no target practice minigames or anything else to round out the package, which may make things come off as bare bones. They do actually make up for this, however, in the arcade mode, but more on that in a minute. You're given all 3 stages to choose from at the start, each varying in difficulty and setting. You got a robbery/heist, an assault on a terrorist-infested cruise liner, and a fast-paced shootout through the subway system of Virtua City. Once you choose your stage, it's off to start murdering baddies. If you begin with the first stage, things start off the way you expect a Virtua Cop game to be. Dudes pop up and you gotta shoot them. Like in the first game, a targeting reticle will appear over bad guys that indicates when they'll shoot you, which at this point has now become a standard for the series. You gotta be careful who you shoot though, as bystanders caught in the crossfire will get in the way, and shooting one takes away your health. So yeah, from face value, Virtua Cop 2 seems to be your standard light gun fare. Where this game really shines though is its technical excellence. Sega's development of Virtua Cop 2 led to many innovations in 3D action games that is still being seen and improved upon today. Let's start with what's already here. In the first Virtua Cop, Sega implemented a system where the enemies would react based on where you shot them. This was further expanded upon with the Justice Shot, which encouraged players to disarm enemies without killing them, scoring you extra points in the process. These are back in full force in Virtua Cop 2, as well as a shot combo system that rewards points for consecutive accurate shooting. If you're making a light gun game, then you better be damn sure that shooting stuff remains fun and interesting throughout your game, and Sega handles this very well. Even the standard controller option works well. You can remap the buttons however you want, and my personal favorite improvement, you no longer have to double tap a button to reload. Without a doubt, the biggest innovation of Virtua Cop 2 is its level design. The first Virtua Cop came out during a time when 3D games were in their infancy, so by the time Virtua Cop 2 was released, Sega had gotten their shit together and produced some really spectacular 3D visuals for the time. The first stage may start during a robbery, but soon afterwards, a car chase ensues. You're taking out enemies as they lean out of cars, and you're even destroying vehicles entirely. It's a super impressive dynamic moment during the game, and this is just the first level. Each level has their own standout set-piece moments sprinkled throughout, with my personal favorite being the third stage's train sequence, where you're gunfighting across train cars and shooting helicopters. It's super fun stuff. While these sequences certainly bring a lot of variety to the shooting, Virtua Cop 2 takes things a step further by introducing branching paths. In the middle of each stage, you'll be given a fork in the road that'll take you to a different area of the level. While the ending will always result in the same boss in each stage, it brings a good chunk of replayability that is seriously lacking in a lot of light gun games from this era. I also need to reiterate that this game really looks incredible on the Sega Saturn. There's so much stuff happening on screen and there's no noticeable polygon warping or visual glitches. It's just a super solid visual feast for those that love mid-90s polygons. Hands down, Virtua Cop 2 is the best light gun game for the Sega Saturn. It's an incredibly well-made and super polished arcade shooter that is totally worth your time, even if you don't own a light gun. A complete American copy is typically running within the sub-$20 range nowadays, so if you fancy yourself some arcade light gun action, look no further than Virtua Cop 2.